How successful have attempts been to bring Holocaust perpetrators to justice? Before one can discuss the Holocaust and the perpetrators involved, one must know what it actually all is. The Holocaust was the mass murder of Jews under the Nazi regime during World War II. The Nazis' anti-Semitism beliefs saw the murder of more than 6 million Jews in Europe, with other groups also being targeted. The methods were inhumane and large-scale, with the implementation of concentration camps around Europe, and meant that act of killing was diabolical. The perpetrators were the Nazis, either working on the concentration camps as a guard or actually being the one that first-hand killed innocent civilians. As long as they were a Nazi, they were a perpetrator. Perpetrators acted most of the time ruthlessly, with no respect for the innocent victims. It should be remembered that those they victimized never did anything inadequate to be punished in such a heinous manner. And the victims, as stated before, they were just innocent civilians that were targeted as a means of cleansing Europe, a barbaric plan set out by the Nazis. The main target were Jews, as they were the ones killed as part of the final solution of Germany's Jewish problem. At the end of World War II, it was time for some justice to be served. Perpetrators, the Nazis, had to be held responsible for the horrendous events that took place. The most well-known trial that took place was the Nuremberg trials. It was under the leadership of the United States, the Soviet Union, Great Britain, and France. Military tribunals took place. The aim was to bring justice to the individuals who held the major responsibility for the atrocities committed under the Hitler regime. Jews that were in good mental and physical health after the war used the trial as an international platform from which they were to bear witness to their horrific experiences. Hermann Göring was tried at the Nuremberg trials as he was Hitler's former second-in-command. He was known to have complete view of machinery of destruction used by the Germans against the Jews, and was told of how he commanded the extermination of thousands of Jews. Even though the court knew of his actions during the Holocaust, he is known as one of the greatest deniers of it ever happening. He told the courtroom that Hitler and himself had no prior knowledge of the Holocaust during the war, and that Germans had no policy that aimed at the extermination of Jews. His barbaric behavior towards denying what he did meant more frustration and anger for the court, as all they want is justice, especially for the huge part Göring played in the murder of innocent civilians. As he was sentenced to his death, hanging, he had hidden a capsule on his person, which meant he was able to kill himself before the Allies were able to. This example shows us how one who was heavily involved in the extermination of Jews was able to get away with punishment. Göring didn't want to go down at the hands of the Allies, so he went to great methods of hiding a capsule and killing himself. Here, no justice was made. He was never really punished for his actions, as he killed himself. He never took responsibility for what he did and wasn't forgiving. So even if he didn't die by himself or at the hand of the Allies, he never gave the respect the survivors deserved. Therefore, in this case of Göring, there was no justice being made. Perpetrators of the Holocaust, who numbered several 100,000 and who lived after the war ended, were only rarely, if ever, called to account for their crimes. Few who were judged were brought to justice only long after the war and given minimal sentences, nowhere near commensurates with their crime. The trial of Oskar Göring is an example of a perpetrator being convicted today. The trial occurred in December 2014 when the former SS officer dubbed the bookkeeper from Auschwitz was charged with 300,000 counts of accessory to murder. At the age of 93, Oskar admitted to his Nazi past by coming forward in 2005 voluntarily. His role during the Holocaust was counting money and other possessions of dead Jews who were gassed, and organizing the shipping of those possessions back to Germany. The court stated that the accused knew that as part of the selection process, those not chosen work and told they were going to the showers were really going to the gas chambers, where they would be put to death in an agonizing manner. This trial is educational in the fact one learns of the jobs and roles one had during the Holocaust, and how in today's court, how one would be sentenced. A witness during the court, Holocaust survivor Eva Kor, urged Oskar to spend his last days teaching others about the evil of Nazis. To an extent, and to some survivors, justice was made, by him owning up to the fact he did what he did during the Holocaust, by acknowledging what happened and being apologetic about it. Groning's punishment was 4 years in jail, but what was 4 years going to do when he'd already spent majority of his life as a free man? It took him that long to come forward, which shows one how long and how hard it takes for perpetrators to be found, and in this case, not at all, as he came forward himself. His sentence to jail would only be accepted because of his age, but it doesn't mean any justice was really being made. The torturous environment of the innocent lived in during those years at the camp saw a lifelong traumatizing effect. When liberated from the camp, many studies documented the survivor's syndrome, meaning the Holocaust survivors suffering from severe and enduring physical effects. When their trials occurred, they realized, the survivors, that they had a duty. By testifying, they continued to deny victory to those who sought to destroy them and to the power of forgetfulness. We are the generation that has a responsibility to make sure the Holocaust will be remembered. So who and how does one determine the success of justice for Holocaust survivors? Justice is the act of being fair and reasonable through the doing of governments and authority by upholding the law to these perpetrators. All these trials took place in order for justice to be prevailed. But how can one determine the success of this when the actions that took place by the perpetrators was large scale and inhumane? But no matter the punishment, it does not make up for what happened and never will. All that can be done is for all those involved be accounted for their actions, admit to what was done, and to be put into confinement, where they can spend the rest of their life thinking about what they did. Therefore, trying to bring Holocaust perpetrators to justice for their actions has not been successful, as even when sentenced to death or sentenced to jail, no verdict from court will bring justice to what was already done during the Holocaust.